Explore an ever-expanding variety of wholesome, locally grown foods when you shop Illinois.
I'm John Pike. I'm the research agronomist here with the University of Illinois Department of Crop Sciences at the Dixon Springs Ag Center. We've got a 5,000-acre research farm here run by the University of Illinois. We've got beef cattle research, crop sciences research, which includes grains, and also horticulture and natural resources and environmental science. What I'm in charge of as the research agronomist is corn, soybeans, and wheat research, and we're the crop sciences department here. Our main goal is to do research on food, basically, whether it's grains or fruits and vegetables. I'm in charge of all of the field crop research involved with corn and soybeans and wheat, and then we have a horticulturist here that works with fruit and vegetable crops and does all kinds of research with variety trials and testing new types of crops and new ways to grow crops to provide a better variety of local foods for local consumers across the state. And there's been quite an evolution in the fresh fruit and vegetable market here in probably the last 10 years or so. We see a lot of people are more health conscious probably than they were 20 years ago, and so we've seen a big increase in people being more aware of where their food comes from and how it is produced. And some of our larger grocery chains are now looking for ways to source fruits and vegetables more locally so they can cut down on that transportation cost, and as a result they're able to provide their consumer customers with higher quality fruits and vegetables. So it's just a winning situation all the way around, and this has created markets and opportunities for our local producers that weren't there before we saw the increase in transportation costs. So there's a lot of opportunities for both sides. You know, when people are looking for a healthier way to eat and sourcing more local products, the fact and education about learning when those products are available are important. Producers are looking for ways to provide a wider variety of produce for the local consumer, as well as being able to provide that fresh quality product for a longer time of the season than they could traditionally just growing in the normal garden like we would think of. And Market Maker has sort of been developed as a matchmaker to bring consumers and producers of fresh produce together, and it's also used by some of the bigger buyers of ways that they can look for producers of local produce in a given market. So on this site, by clicking on this particular tab here, we get this site that comes up on a map that's interactive, and there's a variety of things that we can search for here. But if we just look at farmers markets, for example, we can see here that on the Market Maker site we've got 348 farmers markets that are listed around the state, and it's a good way to get an idea about what is going on around your area. So you can also search for particular farms, or you can search for tomato growers or people that might grow gooseberries or raspberries or something in your particular area. To see those people and have trust and some type of relationship with those growers is important to the consumer, and that adds a lot of peace of mind no matter how the crop is produced.
My name is Jeff Keinhardt. I work for the University of Illinois Department of Crop Sciences. I'm housed at the Dixon Springs Ag Center, which is located in Pope County. The horticulture program started here in 1960, and he started in 1960. The gentleman was Bill Corder, who was running it, and he started with greenhouse tomatoes, and they grew lettuce as a winter crop, and we have kind of continued his research program on. He started with blueberries, which we still have an acre of. Blueberries are a wonderful crop. When we look into the late 70s was kind of the heyday of U-pick, where everybody came to the farm and picked lots and lots of commodity. We really don't see a lot of U-pick returning, but we do see consumers that very much want product that is locally grown. The reason that growers are interested in adopting hydroponic systems There's actually a myriad of them. One, crop development and early season yield is much more rapid in a hydroponic system than it is in a dirt system. So if we're trying to get tomatoes for early season production, a type of growing system that allows for the earliest development of ripe fruit is a no-brainer. And hydroponics does offer much more rapid crop development than what we would see with soil-based production. Another crop, which again is not particularly new but is being more widely adopted, is hydroponic lettuce, which you can see right here. And hydroponic lettuce, oftentimes you can see it's grown with the roots still on it, and in many cases when we harvest this, we will wind up actually leaving the root system intact. We'll come through and kind of trim the root system, and we'll put it in a tray, and we'll actually market this as living lettuce. And when you buy it at the store, it still has a little root on the bottom. And the advantage of this hydroponic lettuce from the producer point of view is that we can turn the crop much more rapidly, similar to tomatoes. So instead of getting 8 crops out of a greenhouse in a year, we may get 10 or 11 crops. And the more times we can turn the greenhouse, obviously the more potential for profit that affords the grower. Additionally, on the consumer side of things, I think the quality of hydroponic lettuce tends to be very, very good. We grow the tomatoes that we've looked at over there, and lots of different crops can be grown in an aggregate. In this case, this is a hydroponic system, but they're being grown in perlite. In this particular case, similar to tomatoes, they're being grown in a system called a Dutch bucket system or a Beto bucket system. And here's examples of bell peppers that are being raised in that system. If we go down further, herbs really respond well. In fact, herbs respond so well that you actually at some point get tired of picking them because they keep coming on. This is basil, and here is cilantro being grown. Consumer demand has really changed on these things as well. In this case, you're looking at blueberries, and these are actually in bloom right now. And blueberries and blackberries in particular, because of all of the press on the benefits of antioxidants and how typically dark-skinned fruits are associated with having very high levels of the antioxidants that people are interested in consuming for health benefits, we've actually seen quite an increase in consumer demand for blueberries and blackberries both. This particular blueberry planting behind me, just to give you an idea of longevity, these plants were set in 1965 and they still bear and do, fine. So it's a crop that actually takes quite a while to establish. Typically you won't be able to harvest if you decide you want to go into blueberry business tomorrow. It's going to be about 3 years before you have much to pick, and honestly you don't pick a whole lot the first year. And that yield will increase up through about the first 10 years till we get to full production. This is one of the oldest crops that we have worked with. We've worked with blueberries since 1960 and have never quit. I mean, they're still here. The tomatoes, I said greenhouse tomato production, we started with in 60 and we had a lull in the 70s. It went away until 2010 and now it's come back. But we continue to look at new things. One of the new crops that we're looking at right now is that we're looking at mushroom production, and in particular we're looking at oyster mushroom production. These are oyster mushrooms that you see right here, and we think those are going to be a really good fit for producers not just in southern Illinois but throughout the state of Illinois. Mushrooms, tomatoes, peaches, lettuce. I mean, I think that qualitatively there really is a difference to buying it local, and that's where we make a good fit, and that's where we try to do our work at. So many times people have never even eaten anything that is fresh, so that when they get it the first time at the farmer's market, they're a little bit flipped out because it tastes different than what they had eaten before. But in many cases they grow to understand, wow, that's really what I want, and that's how you get repeat customers.
We're back, and now we're in my kitchen on my turf. So we've been down at U of I Dixon Springs Ag Center with John Pike. He's going to be my guest today in the kitchen, and Jeff Kinehart. And you guys are truly rock stars in your field.
I don't know about that.
You are. We gained a wealth of knowledge today, and I'm so excited to share it with all of you. But you also so graciously brought all this back with us.
This is the bounty of the harvest.
This is it. And once you try fresh, you won't want the rest, I promise. And I know I'm hungry, so we're gonna cook up some great recipes today. Very simple, not crazy ingredients, you know, easy directions, and we're gonna show you how to get this fresh and local produce back on your table and into your family's diet. So, John, I usually let my guests start out by picking the recipes, and you are allergic to chicken.
That's correct.
Okay, so no chicken today, no chicken.
Good deal.
We're having pork loin. Now get this, marinated in a peach and pineapple salsa. Does that not sound delicious?
Looks great.
So good. And we're gonna just saute up some of these fresh vegetables and some garlic and onion and butter. And then I am going to pair that with my salad, Super Bowl salad of the year, my BLT salad.
All right.
You can eat bacon, right?
I can.
Okay, bacon and blue cheese crumbles. So it's gonna be delicious. So what we're gonna do is go ahead and start out with the pork loin. And I'm gonna let you do some barbecuing because I just had some ribs at your house the other day. They were fabulous. Yeah, it's delicious.
We'll start with some oil here in the pan.
Nothing is better than fresh oil and butter and garlic, maybe some onions. I mean, even Haven will come running. Now, while these are cooking up, we are gonna start on some of these beautiful vegetables, fruit and vegetables. And I get all kinds of requests for low carb, okay? All, you know, oh, we want low carb. Now, pasta's good, but everyone's wanting low carb. So, they came out with this little gadget called the Veggetti. Okay, why didn't I think of that? Well, I actually did, because long before this thing came out to make vegetable noodles, I was making vegetable noodles with my carrot peeler for many years. And now my family and I, we prefer it. I know it's crazy, but once you get this sauteed in your garlic and butter, so all you're gonna do is take your carrot peeler and you clean your vegetables, dry them off, and you're just gonna make these long strips. These are just, to me, these look like fettuccine noodles, actually. And I do make a fettuccine Alfredo with these. But you're just gonna do this, and I'm gonna do it today with some zucchini, some carrots, and then we're also gonna throw some fresh mushrooms. Talk about the mushrooms a little bit that you guys
That sounds
have
great.
down there.
Yeah, one of the new crops that our horticulture research staff is looking at Dixon Springs is mushrooms. They're growing portobellas and have had real good luck with oyster mushrooms too. And that's something that you don't just think of as a common Illinois local product, but we are doing quite a bit of research with that, and Jeff at some of the winter producer meetings is talking with a lot of people, and those are things that we can look forward to seeing more and more of at the farmers markets in the coming years.
Now I'm gonna add, and this is how I do my vegetable noodles. I just add some whipped butter in the pan, or you can use, if you're vegan, go ahead by all means, use any type of oils. It's really good with olive oil as well. Then I'm gonna take, now I keep my garlic sometimes in my freezer in bulk, and I just pop it out, and I love fresh garlic. If you don't have a garlic press, this is one thing that, besides a good knife, I use this on a daily basis. So get your garlic in there, a few onions in that as well. Saute all that up. One of my goals is to give veg out a new meaning. I mean, it's okay that we lay around sometimes, but I don't know. I'm all about the vegetables now. And I feel so good after I eat them. I mean, it's crazy. I was in a little obstacle course with Haven the other day, and I'd eaten a big salad of all this fresh stuff. And honestly, it was embarrassing, but I felt like a racehorse. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so good. Because sometimes, you have that heavy lunch, you go through the drive-thru and you're like, ugh, I'm so full. But I felt great. I had so much energy. I stayed up later that night. Now, what I'm doing now is the same thing with carrots, okay? I make, the traditional chicken noodle soup. Sometimes I'll make a chicken carrot noodle soup. So you just take your carrots and you're just gonna boil them like that. Got our vegetables are about ready to go in. These are always gonna condense down. So you always wanna have a big batch. Kind of mix these up. So let me get my spatula here. How's the meat coming?
Looks good.
We got that ready. All you're gonna do is take these vegetables. That's gorgeous. Is that not gorgeous?
I think it is. That's a good tool. There's nothing wrong with the produce that you get in the store. That we've got a wide variety, and we're fortunate to have the food supply system that we do in this country. But we're missing out a lot as consumers on the fresh aspects of it because the taste is just totally different. And that's whether we're talking about tomatoes or carrots, mushrooms, all of those things. The fresher, the better.
And don't you think it's a trend now? I mean, people crave food, right? Like, we've been around all this today, and we got so hungry. I know all of us were wanting just to have a big salad that I'm getting ready to make, but people also crave information now about where their food comes from, where to get it, how to get it on your table and get into your family's diet, and that makes me happy. Are they about done?
Chops are about done. We don't want to overcook them.
No, you're
for
right.
Sure.
We've got a plate there.
But
so what I'm going to do is
put
get
them all
this
on
salad
here,
thrown together really quick. Go ahead for now. We can.
Okay.
Or we can just take. You know what? I can set them over here. How about we set them over here and let them cool down a little bit while I'm doing
that'll be
the
fine.
salad.
We'll put that right there.
We'll work there. Keep them a little warm.
Perfect.
Now this is my salad of the year. And you know what? It's going to be even better with all these fresh ingredients. I have the recipe on my website, but it's my BLT salad. So what we've got here, let's talk about these different lettuces. And I like to mix and match my lettuces. You know, I don't like just to throw some iceberg in there and that's it. So I like to kind of mix things up a bit.
But there's a lot more variety to that. We've got the leaf lettuce like this, and this happens to be some smaller leaf, and I enjoy it. The smaller the better. Back to the ingredient part again, I think it's important that we identify where these things fit in the meal, and this head of lettuce-looking stuff over here is radicchio. And radicchio, you'll see that a lot in some of the up-end markets, and they even cook with that on the Food Channel and make some things on that from time to time. But that's not something that would make a main course salad by itself. In most cases, radicchio by itself would be very bitter.
Yes.
But mixed with other things or a sweet type of dressing as an ingredient, it really gives a good kick to a lot of things, like
the Swiss chard.
Like the Swiss chard and other things that we get.
So that's why I like these lettuces. So let's add that on in here. And then this type is...
Get that away. It's just another variety of
just a little another variety.
Yes.
These are so green. And this reminds me of the butter lettuces kind of a little bit. So we're going to get that in there. Now, I like to add a little kale to my salads too.
Give it some crunch.
Some crunch. Besides the nutritional benefits, it's just a sturdy, you know, kale's very sturdy, so it holds up well with the dressings that I like to use. Now, we are going to add, and I left these in pretty big pieces because these tomatoes that you brought us are beautiful. There's a bunch of different varieties. So we're going to add our tomatoes in. The
thing to point out, though, is that the tomatoes that we see right here, if we think of it in the aspect of regular tomato, everybody thinks a red, round tomato. And the red round tomato is good, but a lot of times some of the ugly tomatoes are some of the better tasting. We see a lot of the farmers market producers, they will have a different type of tomato that they bring to the market as opposed to what folks get at the grocery store. So just a lot more variety with Illinois agriculture than a lot of people really realize, just because of the way that corn and soybeans dominate the landscape as we go up and down the highway.
What do you think?
I think that looks great.
It's fit for a king.
You know it.
Or a queen. So I'm excited. We're going to share the wealth, right?
You know it.
Share the wealth and share the health, because all this stuff is so healthy for you and it's so delicious. It does not cost more to eat healthy, right?
No.
No, and it doesn't take more time. This took about, what, 20 minutes to cook this delicious meal up?
It was quick.
Yep, it was quick. So we are going to ask you all to support your local farmers. We've got a website, healthyhippiechef.com. I'm going to ask you to go there. We've got a little survey. If you want to talk a little bit about that survey, we're going to ask people to take. It's just basically going to help everybody. It's going to help the farmer figure out what the consumer wants.
It's part of your specialty crop grant project that you're involved in with this show and these segments to help promote fresh fruits and vegetables and just let consumers know of the availability of these products and how to use them more effectively in the diet. And one of the things that's important about these projects is that we've got to show impact with these things. So with your contact with consumers and your survey, we hope that folks will take time to answer those questions and just give us some idea about their ideas and opinions about fresh fruits and vegetables, some of the barriers and challenges that they face in finding them or incorporating them into the diets. And then over the course of your project throughout this year, we'll have a chance to hopefully modify some things and put together some other projects and programs, and we can retest at some point to see what change made. And that's an important part of the project.
The sky's the limit. We're gonna have a fruit and veggie revival Like a
That's
good
right.
old-fashioned
That's right. But I
baptistry
I know
vibe.
though in my travels around the state, my contact with fruit and vegetable farmers from very, very small to some of the biggest commercial operations in the state, everybody really appreciates the efforts that you're putting into this project, and we hope to see good results and continue into the future.
Don't forget to kiss the cook, share a smile, have table talk, and always say grace. Ciao for now.
Where Fresh is. For more information, visit IllinoisWhereFreshIs.com.